Hello and welcome to the In the Studio workshop for Life is Good. This is a free workshop. We're going to be taking you through how to create a lovely little fold back design and of course some decoupage layers featuring the gorgeous little characters from the Life is Good collection. We're going to start with an 8x8 card blank, and what I've done here is scored halfway down the front of the card itself. That means we can create a lovely little fold back that then is all neat and tidy with the rest of the card. And actually using an 8x8 card blank means when we come to utilise some of the pattern papers, we can get enough from one A4 sheet to fill the inside of this card design as well as the outside too. So first things first, let's put in our mats and layers. Whenever you're looking for inspiration for your mats and layers, again, think to the occasion you want to be sending for and then pull a colour from the reflection artwork, from the detail in the background, and really use that as your theme. So here, we're going to be using one of the bright orange designs and colours from the Craftmaster cardstock. This is from Banana Split, a lovely, fun, vibrant colour and something that works really, really well with the theme of this card design too. Onto the reverse of this pattern paper, we have added in a little bit of finger lift tape. I'm just going to burnish that side down to make it a little bit easier to fold a section of that carrier sheet on the tape over. That means I can come in and line up my pattern layer absolutely perfectly without having to worry about it being stuck down first off. We can then pull those tabs and smooth that paper down into place so that tape now holds all the way around. And that's a really quick and easy way of getting your mats and layers nice and aligned each and every time. Next up, we're going to stick this piece to the middle of our card. Now for size-wise, I've just gone down about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch smaller for each size of the mat and layer. Just trimming them down initially from that 8x8 down by 1/2 an inch to create these lovely fine mats and layers, giving you a little pop of colour all the way around. Now from the papers, from the downloads of this collection, I've chosen to use this kind of splattered leaf kind of feel. It's a lovely sort of watercolour painterly effect to it, but I'm using it sort of round one edge of the design here. So it almost sort of hugs the bottom corner of the design. Just make sure I've taken the carrier sheet off all sides. For the front half of the card, we can of course then repeat that process again, giving us a lovely uniform front to the design too. So again, same colour for the mat and layer, and this time around, as we've said, taking just the waist, which was cut down from the layer on the inside of the card to create the front panel design as well. So again, just burnishing that finger lift tape down into place and then folding over 2 little tabs to allow us to create that mat and layer effect. This one, I'm not too worried about lining up the pattern across the card, but anything where I'm using like a heavenly pattern paper or something with where you want to create like a continuous flow, I would go ahead and print 2 sheets and then cut them so they're the same. But because this side had this nice sort of tonal colour leaf, because it's more of an abstract paper, I'm not too worried about lining those up. Next, we're going to go and stick this whole mat and layer to the front of the card design. So again, just burnishing down, folding those tabs over to allow us to stick this to the front. The key here is just make sure your mats and layers are all the same width or the same size, and it just gives you a lovely flow to your design like so. Now here, what I wanted to give the illusion of, because we're going for this kind of jumping for joy kind of theme from Life is Good, I'm using a little square cut down to create our topper that will then hang over the edge when we open the card. Normally I would go maybe like a 5x5 size on a card which is 8x8, but for this I've purposely gone smaller, and you'll see when we add the characters just why we've made that decision. Again, just burnishing down. This little layer will also have the same mats and layers as the inside of the card here, but this time around I have trimmed them down again 1/4 of an inch smaller. And then the pattern paper, we've gone with one of the A5 printouts for this and then trimmed it down. So it's actually smaller than the paper on the back, but that means it's perfectly sized to then work as a really lovely topper to the front of the card design as well. Just making sure we're getting the positioning right. We've got 2 little strips of foam on the reverse, which is obviously going to stick to the front of the card there. And that means I just want to make sure I'm getting those leaves around the right way when we come to stick, like so. I kind of want them following the same detailing as we have on the reverse of the card. Let's make sure we get this nice and central. I'm using the grid lines on my mat to make sure my card is nice and level, meaning we can go in and place that fairly centrally like so. And then you get this lovely open effect with your topper. So for my characters, obviously we've got a really lovely choice of design. We've got squirrels, we've got our little puppy dogs, we've got our hedgehogs, and of course we do have our kittens as well. So I'm going to get a couple of the characters out just to offer them up to the design and show you how we can utilise those. These hedgehogs are sweet. Don't they look all nestled down and ready? They're just so sweet, these little feet at the bottom there. And of course, my personal favourite, the little kittens as well. Now, the reason why I've taken that topper slightly smaller is because we want the animals almost leaping off the page, okay? So it's almost kind of giving you this effect that they are jumping for joy. So having it slightly smaller allows you to create this kind of movement to the front of your card, whereby the die cuts themselves, the characters are jumping off of the page. I'm going to utilise the sentiment jumping for joy, cut from a lovely black card, so you got that great colour difference between the back and the front, but I think I do have to go with our little kitten. Looks like he's flying in to say hello, doesn't he? Really, really cute. To stick our sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and use some of the Pinflair bookbinding glue. I'm going to squidge a little bit out onto my mat. And because we're using something quite fine, in the sense this detailing for the die cut sentiment is fine, let's go in with one of our Craftmaster glue applicators, meaning we can get right in to all the little nooks and crannies on this die cut. Just like so, just taking a little bit of the glue up on the end of the Craftmaster glue applicator and then just dabbing it into areas on the die cut so we can get a nice hold between the layers as well, without the worry of any glue kind of squidging over the edge or anything like that as well. Just making sure we concentrate on any little areas which could be vulnerable, which could lift, just giving you really, really nice layering between the two. Positioning it down across those leaves, again fairly straight as well, and then just sticking that down into place. That then kind of sets the tone for our kitten, who's going to be jumping in to say hello. To give our kitten even more prominence on the front of our card, we're not just going to use one layer, we're going to cut some decoupage layers. So cut that same colourway, cut that same die a couple of times, and let's go ahead and shape and stick. So let's just pull his little face forward, his little paws forward as well. Let's use a little bit of Pinflair glue gel, just in the area where he would be stuck to the front of the card, and have him kind of zooming in to say hello over the edge of that little box like so. For the next layer, let's just look at the die cut there and think, okay, well, what would be next in the foreground? So we need to trim away his little back there with his little paws and this little leg, leaving the paws and, of course, his face in the foreground. I'd recommend using a nice sharp pair of scissors for this. And all you need to do is follow the cut line details that are already laid down. So your scissors will move along the line of the cut line details. And let's just finish around his tummy. And of course, just take away that back paw and leg as well. And the great thing about having these on download and being able to print them as many times as you like, you're then in control of however many layers of decoupage you would like to add to these as well, to give them a really lovely full effect. Let's just round him off, just kind of bring his head forward as well. And again, lift wherever we've created that dimension with a little bit of Pinflair glue gel. As I've said, you can use foam pads if you prefer. The glue gel just gives you that little bit of wiggle room, making it slightly easier to line up. Our final decoupage layer, of course, it's got to be his gorgeous little face, hasn't it? So again, let's just follow those cut line details laid down by the die itself, then come around and trim out around his whiskers to that little chin and upwards from there. The last layer, round that off again. I'm using the back of the poker tool. You can use a ball tool if you prefer, on a foam mat, for example. Let's just bring those little tips of his ears forward and shape that face. I'm going to use tweezers at this size just because we're just getting down to those smaller sizes of the die cut there. Loop over that glue to give a really nice full height to that decoupage layer. And then just, like so, tease that into place. Make sure your layers are all lined up. Make sure we haven't got too much glue on the corner of the card. And there we have our finished Life is Good little fold back card. Of course, as we said, you could use any one of the characters in a design like this. Don't forget to share with us your designs over on our Facebook group, Highlight Crafts Official. We love seeing what you guys create. And as you're on our YouTube channel, why not hit that subscribe and notify button to be reminded of every new workshop that comes out. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you would like to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to receive notifications on all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video or click here to see more videos like this one.